honestly bold to honk. Like, bold.
Like, couldn't be me, but good for you.
Yeah, love that for you. My anxiety could never.
Hi, everybody. This is Ashley from TikTok's 130 Books in 130 Days. You're listening to the If It Was a Book podcast, the show that takes real-life stories and rewrites them into what would happen if it was a book. For people who love reading, writing, pop culture, and general ADHD chaos. Today, I am joined by the lovely Sarah, who is a longtime bookfluencer, recent founder, and chief executive visionary for Readin magazine. Sarah, I am obsessed with this. Your first issue was released in February and was phenomenal. March issue just came out. It'll be a week or two after when this episode comes out. But is there anything you want to tell the readers and the listeners about your magazine?
First of all, thank you so much for having me on here. This is the greatest thing in the world. I was just telling people, I already make delusional scenarios based on things that happen to people, my own little friends in my head. So this is so cool that I can do it on a podcast. Honestly, greatest idea for bookish people ever. You really slayed this. And yeah, Readin, we kind of just birthed her. I thought about her when we finally heard about the TikTok ban, I was like, something's going, we're moving on to the next thing. But I did have a little bit of anxiety because I built up my audience on TikTok. So I was just really nervous about losing that sense of community. When I get nervous, my comfort artist is Kesha. So I was listening to Come On by Kesha. And I never fall asleep listening to music, but I fell asleep listening to it. And I woke up and I had a dream while I was sleeping about The Devil Wears Prada. But instead of a Vogue type magazine, it was a bookish one. And then I woke up and I was like, wait, this would be such a good idea. And other people agreed. And now it's grown insanely. And I literally thought of the idea December 8th. So the fact that we're on our second issue, we just launched our second issue, blows my mind. I can't, if I think about it too long, I'll have an attack. But I just want to let people know that the first one came out. The point of Readin is that it seriously is built by readers for readers. It's built by the bookish community for the bookish community. And I think there's just not really anything like that out right now, literary-wise, to where I feel like a lot of the literary magazines are kind of geared more towards publishers and writers and booksellers, where this is specifically geared towards readers. And I think that's what's got people so excited about it. And our March issue just came out, and it's all about, Women's History Month and just women, but also just how trans rights and women's rights and human rights all go together, and intersectionality, and just all the beautiful things about being a woman, whatever kind of woman you want to be, and just taking back our definition of being a woman, especially in this political climate. It's a lot. There's a lot happening. So I think it's really needed. And I feel like every single issue is just getting better. The articles this month are rock star stellar. I'm so obsessed with them. The cover design is really good. It's designed by our friend McLean Moises, and it's literally so good and amazing. And yeah, I'm super excited with this issue.
Right now it's a digital only magazine, right? Do we have any plans for it to maybe become print someday?
If I could make it print tomorrow, I would do it in a heartbeat. It's really just financial constraints. It's me and my friend Emma Berry. We both kind of founded it together. And we're just two girls. Yeah. We're just two girls, so we don't have the funds to move to print yet. And we also, like I said, just came up with the idea December 8th. So we really wanted to see how people are feeling, what type of articles people enjoy, what type of information that people would want in them, and how many views we're getting before we put the financial, revenue in there. But we have gotten people reaching out. We've gotten bookstores and book boxes reaching out and being we would love to stock your magazine. And that's insane. That is so crazy to me. And I'm we don't have a print copy yet, but when we do, I will hit you up. I would definitely love to go to print. And I think I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited to just look at and okay, I think this page should be this, and we should put this image here, and just have I'm imagining a big whiteboard, wall, and you're just very Anna Wintour, no, here. This should be, I'm so excited.
God, I love that. I genuinely, the February issue, the first issue that came out, was so fun. Putting the Virgo horror horoscope book as House of Leaves was diabolical, but it was still so fun. And then the sentient object romance history from Grapey was amazing. I didn't expect it to be so informative. And I was reading it at work, and I was making my coworker read it too. And I was like, look, sentient object romance dates back to.
No, it's so fun. And I think that's that's what's so amazing about Readin too, is like I said, it's by readers for readers. So like there's so many information that we all have, and I think readers genuinely see the world different than everyone else because we read. And as soon as like me and Emma started this magazine, we were like, we don't have a straight white man over us trying to tell us what to do. Like we can literally do whatever we want. So I was like, Great Bee, hey girl, do you want an entire column just dedicated towards your sentient object romances? That's all you have to write. When it dropped, she like sent us a screenshot in our like Readin Slack message, because we're real professional like that with the Slack.
You're a business.
But she sent a message. Her mom is a subscriber, and so when her article dropped, her mom like sent her a screenshot. Was like, yeah, like in all caps, like your article dropped. And she was like, my mom knew about it before I did. And I was like, it's literally so good. And trying to explain sentient object to anyone who's a non-reader is so hard that I was like, this is so needed in our day and age, I think.
No, it was so fun. I had such a great time. I genuinely enjoyed it so much. But you have chosen a story for us. So let's dive in. This one is actually a story from Reddit. So this is from user Syndicate on the Am I the A-hole subreddit. This line at coffee shop I went to was really long, and I was in line for a good maybe 20 minutes until this lady in a Mercedes tries to cut in front of me and like 8 other people behind me. I laid on the horn and tried to block her from cutting me, but she succeeded anyway and flipped me off. That's actually like so when people are being the worst and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let you in, but I'm also not risking my car for the point. And I'm like, you know what? If you make it, you make it. But like, that was really rude of you.
Yeah. And like, my friends live in New York and my dad lives in New York, and was born in New York, and they drive in, like, this is how they drive, like insanely. And my friend is like that. Like my best friend, when she drives, she will cut in. She is like, it's chaos. And I'm over here like holding, but that's so New York. Like if the exit line is long, you drive past everyone and try to like cut in.
That's so rude. I mean, I understand that that's like a very New York thing to do, but that's not where I'm from. That's so rude.
Yes.
Not that people aren't doing it here. I'm just like, oh, I hate that. Yeah. Anyways, she succeeded and flipped me off. I am the type of person who will not let someone get away with stuff like this. So I waited until she pulled up, and as soon as she tried to order, I honked. So she's like, hi, can I get a God. And she looked at me. She gave a dirty look and gave her the middle finger. But I kept honking every time she tried to order. And I already had a middle finger ready of my own. Each time she made an attempt to order something, I honked and sometimes laid on the horn for 3 seconds. I stopped as soon as she drove off and then ordered and went about our day. Am I the a-hole for this? First of all, no.
First things first, absolutely not.
First things first, no, you were in the right for that.
No, that's actually, it's so funny because like I haven't seen them, but like I've seen commercials for all those road rage movies, and they always scare me so much. Like I'm a very big like screaming, cussing in my car, right, like in the safety of my car. Honestly, bold to honk, like bold.
Like couldn't be me, but like, good for you.
Yeah, love that for you. My anxiety could never, but I don't think you're the a-hole. I also, wait, how do I, okay, when do I come up with the scenario?
Yeah, so
anytime,
there are 2 ways to go here. We can either each write something to share, or we can work together and shout out ideas as they come. What would you prefer?
We can shout out ideas as they come, I guess.
Do you have any first thoughts for how you'd like us to write the story?
I do have first thoughts. I have first thoughts. Okay, so for this is like, you know, am I the asshole coming from the person who's honking? But in my mind, the person who cut is also not the asshole on purpose. Okay? I'm thinking. She's like, I've been watching a lot of K-dramas. Okay?
Wait, pause. Which K-dramas are you watching?
Girl, I have a list. I've seen 14 in the last month and a half. Like, I just crawled out the hole. Like, I'm in between K-dramas, which is honestly how the second issue was even able to come out. Like, because I'm in between K-dramas. You guys are lucky that I'm in between.
Which K-dramas are you watching?
Okay. I have a list. So I haven't I'm making a YouTube video where I'm going to be ranking all of them, like in little like tier rankings. But so far so the first one I watched was The Business Proposal.
Okay.
And that was a good one. I enjoyed it. You know, that was very like, if you're a romance reader, like this is, you know what I mean? Like you'll like this. And then I moved to Destined with You. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I really liked it. That one has more of like magical elements in it, and that was the first one I saw that was like uh
Oh my
reincarnated
God.
lovers,
They're
like
in that
lovers from past.
reincarnation era right now. I love it.
I love a reincarnation.
Me too. Me too. All of
I
the
love it.
webtoons I read right now are reincarnation.
No, I'm literally obsessed with them. And so then I like was really into reincarnation. So I remember after watching Destined with You, I was like, more reincarnation web K-dramas. And they recommended My Demon, which I love. My Demon. Guan and Dorui. Oh, Dorui is everything to me. Are you kidding me? She is everything. But honestly, I think what made it is their fashion. Like, I think they were the most fashionable couple that I've ever seen. Like, they are just beautiful together. So that was a good one. And then I watched Tale of the Nine-Tailed, and it has Lee Dong-wook, who is from Goblin.
Okay.
He's the Grim Reaper from Goblin, which I still haven't seen Goblin yet. But
It's wild to me that you're like, he's from Goblin and not from like anything.
yeah, that's because every time I watch it, people are like, oh, that's the Grim Reaper from Goblin. And I'm like, I haven't seen it yet. But I'm obsessed with him. Like, Instagram now shows you when like what your friends are liking. So if you see me only liking like videos of him, mind your business. Okay.
I will mind my business. Okay, so you've been watching a lot of K-dramas, and because of that, you don't think that the line cutter is the a-hole?
No, because the K-dramas I've watched too, there's like a formula where there's like, if there's a secretary, her boss, like sometimes her boss, like the way secretaries are in K-dramas are like literally like they do everything for their boss, right? Like, and they are like always there, and they get like shitted on by their boss. Okay, so I'm thinking she's a secretary who was late and her like knew her boss was going to be super duper mad. So she's like, but he needs his coffee, and like if I show up without his coffee, like I'm getting it fired, and like I can't, obviously do my job. So I'm thinking she's like, I have to do this because like she doesn't understand. And I'm thinking she was like up like super duper late, like the night before, like doing something with her boss. So like that's why she's cutting out line. Like she has a reason, but obviously the person honking at her doesn't know.
Why would they?
Exactly. So I'm thinking in the moment she is being an a-hole, but for a good reason.
Okay, I can get behind it. I can get behind it. Okay, so she is being an a-hole, but for a good reason. So are we writing from the point of view of her, or are we writing from the point of view of the people in the cars behind her? Who are we? Where are we?
I think it starts first chapter, point of view of the person behind her, like the person honking, right? And then you don't find out. So then you start off thinking like that person's awful, right? Next point, I think it's dual POV.
Okay.
BTW. Next POV is of the girl, and she talks about like, also just putting this out here, this is about to become a sapphic love story.
Beautiful.
Sapphic workplace love story. That's what this is.
Okay, so the girl behind her in the car is going to be our love interest.
Yes. Okay.
So can we name our girls, please?
Yeah, okay. I think it's something fierce. First, I think the one in the car is named maybe like, I don't know why Kate is like on my mind.
We have Kate.
I think of Kate.
Kate and who?
Kate. And then the one in the car, like that's honking the horn. I'm thinking something androgynous. Okay.
Sam, Alex.
Ooh, Sam.
Logan.
Or I like an Alex. I like an Alex.
I just spelled Alex wrong. It's only 4 letters and I did it wrong. Okay. And Alex is honking. Okay.
Yeah.
I take notes. I'm very serious about that.
Alex is the honker and Kate is the honky.
Okay.
Is that what it would be? Like the person receiving the honk?
Right. I hate the term, but yeah, I think that you're correct. You're not wrong. It's horrible, but you're not wrong. Okay. So
I feel like
Kate is the assistant. So I'm going to write that real quick. Assistant. And she is late for work, and her K-drama boss is going to be angry with her. So she had to cut. She had to do it. So I think that Alex knows the car now. So I think that because of that, when she goes to work later, because he says it's going to be a workplace romance. So when Alex goes to work and sees Kate's car, she hasn't seen Kate's face. She's seen Kate's car. She's like, that person works here. That person works here. That a-hole from the coffee shop works here. Who is it? So, okay. Now where are we?
I'm thinking Alex is... Okay, Kate's boss is like a president or like some big person at a company, some kind of
A
executive.
chief executive visionary.
Yeah, exactly. But like more of a CEO, because if he's an asshole, he doesn't get the
That's right.
visionary.
That's right. Okay.
No, he doesn't get that part. He's the chief executive officer. So he is a CEO and he's trying to plan like a big project merger or something. And Alex, the one honking, is the person he's trying to make the merger with.
Okay.
So that's why she's at the office. She doesn't actually work at the office, but she's like, you know, company,
Right.
you know, there to have that meeting. And that's when she sees the car and she's like, wait a second, you know?
I love that Alex is also like in charge of a company, so it seems, because then she can spoil Kate when they get together.
Exactly. Because Kate deserves to be spoiled. Exactly. Kate deserves to be spoiled because that boss is not treating her right. And it's changing her heart. It's darkening her heart. She's really a nice person. But she would never have cut in line if it wasn't for her a-hole boss. Right. So, yeah, I think Alex is like some kind of executive that's meeting with Kate's boss for some kind of merger.
Okay. So Alex meets the boss, and probably Kate's like in the meeting taking notes or whatever because she's the assistant. And Alex is going to be like, hey. Yeah. And then Kate's like busy, not comprehending.
Yeah. And she's like, so I think Alex notices her first. And then Kate's like heads down taking notes, right? Until the boss is like, and the boss doesn't take Alex seriously because he's misogynistic.
Right. So maybe he thought that Alex was going to be a guy because it's an androgynous name. And then Alex shows up.
Exactly. So the merger's important, but the boss is like, I don't want to deal with a woman. So the boss is like, if you need anything, my assistant will be your point of contact for this. I have other things to do. So basically, like, so Kate is like type of secretary who like the boss gets credit, but she's the one that really does all the work. She's doing it all. Yeah, exactly. So like the boss is like, my assistant will handle it, blah, blah, blah. And he goes and like plays golf. And so that's when like,
I hate this guy.
Kate, right? He's awful. He's awful. But he's like such a man.
Right.
See how easy it is for me to build a man like this? Shouldn't be that easy. But yeah, so then when he's like, my secretary will handle this, that's when Kate lifts her head and she sees Alex and she's like, that's the girl who was honking me when I was trying to order.
Oh, so could Kate see Alex through the window? I guess it's easier to see through the windshield than through the back. Okay.
Or if she drove past her to like cut in line.
Ooh,
like,
good point.
She would have seen her, like they would have been, it's, you know that meme from when they're like driving past.
It's from Umbrella Academy. Yes.
That's what I'm picturing, like them too, like seeing each other there.
It's like Victor and Five, right?
Yeah. Like that's the vibe. So then they have to like shake hands and Alex is like squeezing her hand. She's like, it's gonna be so great working with you. And then Kate's like, yeah, this is going to be amazing. And yeah.
Okay. I love. So I think that they've got to have some sort of late night working sesh where one of them is going to caretake for the other. So we're late night, we're working, we're crunching numbers. Whatever this business is, we are businessing. And I think that since Kate is always doing so much and on top of this job that she's doing, she is still assisting guy playing golf who doesn't do his job. So she's exhausted, is having this late night meeting with Alex. Maybe because that's honestly the only time Kate was available. Like Alex had more free time, but Kate was so busy until then. So their late night meeting. I think that Kate has to fall asleep at the meeting. Like maybe Alex excuses herself to take a phone call and then she comes back in. Kate is knocked out. And so I think that Alex has to, in the most K-drama way, Alex should, like, drive her home, maybe carry her to the car, just, like, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So Alex has to carry her to the car, and then, but it's at a point, like, to make it as K-drama as possible, like, she's sitting in the car, and Kate is asleep,
like,
and then Kate,
the
like, she doesn't. Yeah. She, like, buckles the seatbelt, she, like, covers her with her blazer or something like that, and she, like, I've seen so many K-dramas where they, like, balled up the blazer and put it between their head and the window. It's like, so it's got to be something like that. And then Kate, like, wakes up and she's like, oh, my God, we're here. Like, and then Alex is like, we just got here. But they actually got there, like, 2 hours ago. But Alex didn't want to wake her up. And so they were, like, sitting in the car. Kate was like, yeah, we were actually here, whatever. And then just so that Alex, I think it's Grumpy Sunshine, low-key. Like, I think Alex is the grumpy and Kate
I
is the
would say that
sunshine.
Kate's the grumpy.
Kate's the grumpy?
Yeah,
True.
she's so busy. And I think that at her heart of hearts, she is not the grumpy. But she's just so bogged down at her job. And we get to see the sunshine come back out.
Ooh, okay. Wait, Golden Retriever CEO. Alex is that's a new, I feel like Golden Retriever CEO wouldn't be so afraid to hide their feelings.
Right. Well, and I feel like Golden Retriever CEO, because they're so like charismatic, it would make sense to me that they are like successful in business because they're just like, no, of course you're going to give Alex the contract. She's so nice. Like, why wouldn't you? She's the best.
Exactly. And she usually like because she's Golden Retriever CEO and she's a woman, she usually leans into like, not leans in, but she understands that men can be very like, belittling. And I think she always deals with it with a smile. So like Kate thinks that she's like all happy-go-lucky, but there has to be a moment where they're like realizing, one, like you're actually nicer than you seem to be. You've just been bogged down by these things. And then you're actually more upset and like not as happy.
Right.
About circumstance as you like there needs to be a moment where they're both like, hey, we have both been masking like how we're feeling to survive in our situations, and like maybe that's something that they connect on.
Yes.
But I love a Golden Retriever CEO.
Yes.
I think that's everything.
I'm loving all of this. I think it's fantastic. Back to Alex is gonna carry her to the car. She is so sleepy. She is asleep. So I don't think Alex would like know where she lives because that's like low-key creepy. So I think that Alex either takes her to her house or is just in the parking garage with her, letting her nap it out for however long she needs until she wakes up and then is like, oh, hey, what's your address? Like as if they had just gotten there.
Yeah.
I think that Alex would be like fiddling with the controls because she gave the blazer to be the pillow, so there's nothing to keep Kate warm. So Kate's like shivering a little bit, so Alex is like turning up the heat. Maybe Alex is getting a little warm, a little sweaty, but she's like, but I gotta do this, so Kate's so comfy.
Yeah, and it would have to be like, if they're just in the parking garage, then there would have to be a reason that they left the office. So you could say like the office was closing because they were cleaning or something, so we had to leave. But like you had fallen asleep, so I just have you sit in the car. And maybe when Kate wakes up, then she goes to her car, but like Alex follows her home.
Oh, because she's so tired. Yeah, she doesn't want her to get in an accident.
Just because she's sleeping and she doesn't want her to like fall at the wheel. So she like follows her home.
I love that.
And sleeps. And this sets it up for later if like Kate is sick or something.
Now she knows where she lives.
That like, Alex like sends her food and she's like, how did you know where I live? And she's like, she has to make something up like, oh,
I got it from your
personal file. Yes.
So I actually love the being sick angle. I think that she would get sick because she's just doing too much. Like, girlie is overworked. So
I think she was like a caddy when it was like raining at like one of her boss's golf tournaments or something.
Of course she's gonna get sick from the rain.
And her boss had her be like a caddy. Yeah, and so now she has like a cold. And so she's sick. And then they're like on a video call because she's still trying to work, but she's at home and she's sick. And Alex is like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you so stuffy, blah, blah, blah. And that's how she realizes she's sick.
Yeah, she's like camera off, but like you can hear it in her voice how sick she is.
Exactly. And Alex is like, what the heck? So, and they had some kind of conversation before, like maybe while they were working late, where she talked about like, Kate talked about like something her mom always did for her when she was like feeling sick, like always bought her like this specific like super niche soup or something like that. And so Alex sends her like this really, like Kate is just chilling when she's sick after she gets off the phone with Alex, and then the doorbell rings and it's like a to-go container of like that really niche soup.
Maybe it
has to be like far away.
So just to have that conversation, I think that when they're working late at night, maybe Alex says something like, you can't be burning the candle at both ends, like you're gonna burn yourself out, like maybe even like you don't get to be where I am without taking care of yourself. Like you need some self-care, girly. And maybe she says something like, this is nothing that fancy soup or that home remedy wouldn't cure kind of thing. Like if I ever get sick, I'll just do that. Like I can put in the work and I will put in the work and I'm gung-ho. I'm doing everything that I need to do and you can't stop me. And even though you're trying to be nice and caring about my well-being, you can't make me care about my well-being.
You can't stop me.
You can't stop me from overworking myself. So that's how she gets the the information for like what
Yeah.
makes her feel better when she's sick. And so when she gets sick, then Alex is like, here's your stuff.
Yeah. And I think because in that moment when Alex realizes that like she's not taking care of herself, like when they're on the call and she's like, oh, she's really overworking herself, I think there will be moments after they're like, she's like sick where Alex will be like, we need to go here under the guise of like it's for work or it's for research for this project, but it's really just like to like give her some time to chill. So like maybe they're like, if we're setting the scene, maybe they're like marketing execs and they're working on like a really big campaign for like a tea company or something that's like relaxing. And so Alex is like, we need to work today. We need to go get into the mind of someone in the country who's like super relaxed. So today we're gonna live like a relaxed country person. And she's like, we gotta go. It's for work. We gotta go to a small town.
Oh my God.
And she like,
it's the K-drama field trip episode.
Right? Exactly. So Alex takes her to the small town and she's like, we really got to immerse ourselves in the part. Like, we really have to immerse ourselves in the part. And Kate is like, okay. And she's like super serious. She's like taking notes and she's like, you know, really getting into it. And Alex is just kind of like, you know, existing. Like, I'm just happy to be here.
Golden retriever energy. Yeah.
Exactly. And she's like, oh, let's go here. Let's go on this like corn maze hayride or something, or let's go get some sweet tea from the farmer's market, or let's whatever.
Wait, no, I need them to get lost in the corn maze together.
Exactly.
I think that Alex would be the one to get them out because I think that Kate gives, I was taking notes, I know what direction we went, but like maybe she did it wrong or like that's not the fun of a corn maze, okay? So she's going through and she's like, if we turn this way, we'll get out. And it doesn't work. And then Alex kind of teaches her to just like enjoy the moment. And you just gotta, you know, just walk around. You'll find your way out.
Yeah, I think Alex is just following her with her hands in her pocket. And she like sees like when they've come to like the same corn stalk that she saw. Like maybe it's a corn stalk with the blue ribbon.
Yes,
she's like,
the corn stalk.
We come to this. Yeah. Oh, yes, this corn stalk. I remember her. Alex is like, we've hit this one a while, but she's not saying anything. Right. She's just like enjoying being there. And then finally Kate's like, I think we're lost. I don't think I know where we're going. And Alex said, I know. It says something super sweet, like, I just wanted to be here with you. Right. Like that. Or like, you know, I feel like we really get into it at some point. And then Alex knows the way out. Alex is like, I know where we need to go.
Yeah, I think that what got Kate mixed up was that she like went in a circle. So now her like notes take them back in a circle a bunch, and Alex is just like, yeah, we just like turn right and then we're out.
Yeah. They like stop like maybe the point right when Kate is like, okay, we're lost. And they like have a conversation and then she's like freaking out. Like Kate's like, I don't know how we're gonna get out of here. We're lost. I don't know where to go. She's like having like, you know, basically like an anxiety attack about the whole thing. And this is when they're in the corn maze. Finally, the first, what is this in a K-drama? Episode 12, when they hold hands for the first time. 12 out of 16. And like Alex is like holding Kate's shoulders and she's like, everything's gonna be fine. We know how to get out of here. Just breathe. Like take 3 deep breaths with me. And she's like, they finally like hug for the first time or something. And then Alex like grabs Kate's hand and like, follow me. And they're like holding hands out of the corn.
And we get the slow-mo like 12 different angles of the holding hands.
Exactly. Like drone cameras just capturing.
It takes like 15 minutes to do that like 2-second scene.
Exactly. And then they hold hands and they get out the maze and they're like walking through the town. And Kate's like, you don't have to hold my hand anymore. We're like not lost in the maze. And Alex is like, I know. And like doesn't let go of her hand. So they just keep holding hands.
I'm picturing that song, the like, you are my destiny.
Have you ever seen Strong Woman?
Oh my God, I love them.
Yeah. Okay.
See, that's Golden Retriever scene.
Min Men? Are you kidding me? Okay. I'm thinking of their song that's like, love you, love you, love you. Like that is the corn maze. Living in another possibilities. That is on every K-drama edit ever.
And they're slow-mo walking out of the corn maze.
It's so good. Like that's when they're like, or that's the moment when they're like hugging and like for her anxiety attack and she's like breathing. It's like the sun is setting.
Oh yeah, that's why
Corn's
she's
flying.
stressed. The sun's going down. They're gonna get stuck in this
Exactly.
corn maze forever. Okay, I love that. I think that they get out. She pulls her hand and they to the same song.
Yeah, exactly. The song
Right,
never
the song
actually
just
stops
keeps
playing.
playing on a loop. And then maybe she'll get like I think she needs a hot beverage, so either like hot chocolate or apple cider or whatever to give Kate and be like, this is to help you calm down. And then I don't know.
Because this is fall, right? Corn mazes are usually
Right,
fall.
fall.
This is fall. We're in fall, autumnal. This is an autumnal.
This is an autumnal
romance.
romance.
Awesome.
Yes.
Perfect.
And I think that goes with the like tea marketing campaign would be like autumnal.
Yeah. I think it works. So now they're like
maybe product placement. They have the tea.
Kopiko coffee candy.
You have the little candy. Like,
a little Subway ad.
I'm so awake now.
There needs to be some kind of product, obviously product
Right,
placement.
and maybe they'll go to Subway together. It's always the Subway.
Are you hungry? This sandwich is really good. I feel like to really get into it, like they didn't drive there. Like Alex made them take a bus there. So like on the way back, they're like on the bus and Kate Wait, I'm thinking, do we make Kate fall asleep or do we make Alex fall asleep this time?
I think you make Alex fall asleep. However, before that, they took the bus. They got stuck in the corn maze. There are no more buses going home that night. They have to stay at a hotel that night.
You're so right. How could I forget? You
can't just go home after the field trip episode.
Well, and because it's a small town, it has to be like a small bed and breakfast that this like old couple runs. And it also should be an old lesbian couple.
Love that.
An old lesbian couple. So they're like kind of like seeing themselves in the old couple, and they're like, but they haven't confessed their feelings
right.
yet. So they're like, this is crazy. Like, what is this? Blah, blah, blah. But there's only one room. And there's actually not only one room.
But the lesbian couple is like, there's only one room.
Exactly.
Sorry. They ship them.
Sorry, one room with one bed. Sorry.
Gonna throw in the one bed trope, of course.
Exactly. So they finally get in the room, and I think this is the night they finally...
I agree. Mm-hmm.
I think there's some kissing happening.
I think they've also got to fall asleep like cuddling.
Yes, 100%. They're going to fall asleep cuddling. I think first they're going to argue over who's Big Spoon.
See, and I know that Alex is the CEO. She's like very strong. She carried her places. Alex is Little Spoon. I don't care what anybody says. Alex is Little Spoon. It's very important to me.
Yeah, I think Alex is Little Spoon, but I think she argues with Kate because Kate likes to argue.
Sure.
And she just like, okay, and she finally like gives it to her, even though she's like, I didn't want to be Big Spoon
that's
anyway.
fine, actually.
This is actually everything I wanted. This is perfect. And they wake up and the sun's like streaming through like whatever. And the old couple, like they like wake up, and I think Kate is acting really shy. And Alex is just, go to her and be like, hey, this is so amazing. Da, da, da. Like giving her like a morning kiss. Like, this is great. I love everything. And then they like get dressed to go downstairs, and they open their door, and the old couple like falls in.
I think the old couple's definitely eavesdropping.
Hey, how was it? But when they get downstairs for breakfast, and Kate is like, where's the other, people? I thought you said the inn was full.
Right,
like, where's everyone
there was only
else?
one room left.
Yeah, and the old couple's like,
they already left.
Yeah, everyone left at midnight, actually. So that's why no one's here.
Early morning risers. They went to go bird watching, so they're already gone. Yeah. Y'all slept in real late.
You're already... Yeah, the birds migrated here last night, so they had to leave immediately. So that's why they're not here. Some kind of like insane, outrageous reason. And then everything's changed. So when they're on the bus, they're holding hands.
And Alex falls asleep on Kate's shoulder.
Yeah. But Kate's nervous. Like, Kate's anxious about the whole situation.
Right. Kate's especially worried because like maybe the deal hasn't finished yet, or like somebody could still back out, and she's just like really worried that like she's ruined something.
Or her boss is talking to someone else at Alex's company behind her back to like
talk to a man.
Alex out of the deal. Yeah, and Kate knows about it, but she hasn't told Alex yet.
No, betrayal.
Maybe Kate hasn't told her yet because she wanted to like help Alex make it so good that they couldn't bring someone else on. So like she's trying to help Alex, but like she should have just told her.
But that is causing our third act breakup. That's so rude.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, how do you feel about a third act breakup? If it's done well, I like a third
I
act
think that
breakup
it
because I
makes
think it's
sense in
important.
some situations, like especially if there's
Yeah.
going to be like a betrayal. I'm not going to keep dating them through the betrayal. Like we have to have some groveling. I have to forgive you and then we can fall in love again. But like
Yeah.
and
I love third act breakup because I love groveling. And I also think it's important. I think it's important to see how a couple reacts in
Mhm.
conflict. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's been some third act couple, like breakups where the couple gets back together where I'm like, y'all shouldn't have got back together because of how this person acted, like, throughout this
Mhm.
breakup. So I feel like they're important. I feel like they're sometimes important for the story, if it makes sense. Like, if you set it up in a way that makes sense. And I feel like this makes sense because they shouldn't be, like, this is a high intensity,
Did you read
relationship.
Make the Season Bright, I believe is the title? Okay, well, one of the girls' name is Brighton, because I was like, of course it is. But anyways, she leaves her fiance at the altar, and then they get back together. Like, that's the intro is she has left her fiance at the altar. Right after hooking up with her, like, the day of the wedding, she hooks up with her fiance, and then leaves her at the altar, and then they meet back up years later because they are like both friends with sisters who invite them back home for the holidays in like a platonic way, and then they fall back in love. And I'm like, I don't really know.
I've never
I don't.
forgive
Yeah,
you.
I'm like, I don't really know that I forgive you for that.
No, I hold grudges. So I don't think I would ever forgive you. Either that or like I would never marry you again. Like I would never put in the effort for like a full out wedding ever
Right.
again with you.
Yeah.
Like we can be together. It's gonna be a courthouse wedding. Like I'm not gonna be putting in like all this stuff
Mhm.
again because that's kind of crazy. And that would mess with my head if we hooked up the night
The
before.
day of
And
the morning of
no,
the
that would
wedding, and then she
no,
leaves her at the altar.
no, actually not. No, that's insane. No, no, thank
Mhm.
you. Our third act breakup won't be like that. We won't do that to
Right.
Kate and
Yes.
Alex.
They will forgive each other for much less aggressive
Yeah.
things. Okay, so Kate knew about the boss going behind Alex's back. So
Mhm.
do you think that the boss is able to talk to someone else, or do you think that Alex is gonna like overhear a phone call where Kate's boss is being like, there's no one who will talk to me because she's the highest at the company or whatever?
I'm adding a new element to this, and this could complicate things. But I'm thinking maybe Kate has a brother, right? And their dad is the head of the company,
Um,
and it's like a succession inheritance kind of thing, where he's like giving them both
oh no.
projects to work
Okay.
on. And Kate's boss is talking to the brother,
Okay.
undermine the brother. And hear me out. It's all gonna work out. It's all gonna work out because the boss like talks to the brother, and they're like trying to work together to like get that basically like pull the deal out from under Alex. And maybe Kate doesn't know about it like early on. Like maybe she finds out like a few days before Alex
Mhm.
finds out. She just hasn't been able to like tell Alex, or like she's trying to find a solution to like help Alex before she like tells
Yeah.
her, because she knows how like stressed Alex is, and like like all the other stuff that other people don't know about Alex. Like she knows a deeper part of
Right.
Alex. So I'm thinking something happens to where I don't know when the big explosion happens, like where the big reveal where Alex finds out.
I think it's got to be an accident in order to justify the breakup. It's got to be that, like,
Yeah.
she overheard something or, like, an email was mistakenly CC'd to her, because it has to be that Kate doesn't tell her. Like, Kate is going to tell her, but doesn't.
Wait, do you want to make it so dramatic?
Okay.
What if Alex invites Kate to like a family dinner or like a gala or something? Because she wants to like they're getting
Right.
serious, and she wants, and it's like a family thing, and she's introducing Kate to her dad and her brother who are there, and her brother, because he's a terrible person, her brother's like, oh yeah, like I've been talking with your boss, whatever his name
Mm-hmm.
is, really excited for
Tea
us to work
project.
on
Yeah.
the tea campaign together. And that's what Alex is like.
I agree for everything except I think that the brother did not know that Alex was also working on it. I don't think that the brother was trying to pull one over on Alex. I think that CEO boss was trying to pull one over on Alex. I think that brother didn't know. I think that he was trying to fight fair on the inheritance game.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, if it's that way, then
And it's just like whoever can get the most accounts or the accounts that make the most money or whatever.
Yeah. So like the boss was two-timing that. Maybe the boss was like, whoever offers me more money. Like you know how sometimes people will go to like when you're looking for a job, you'll like be interviewing at two places, but like you'll tell them like, oh well, this person's offering this amount of money to see if they'll give you more. Like maybe it was like that where Alex and her brother didn't know they were being played against each other, but they actually were. So maybe it's not the brother that is like, hey, it's nice to meet you. Maybe it's the dad that's like, oh, is your boss this, whatever. My son was just telling me about the project that he's working on with you guys for the tea commercial. And then Alex is like, I'm also working with them on a tea commercial. And then that's when Kate was like, I was going to tell you, I just found out. And then they go, Alex's family lives in a really big house. So they go to like the courtyard or something, the garden. I don't even know what rich people have in there.
The courtyard.
Yeah, the courtyard. They go to the veranda, but they're like sitting out there, and they start like, yelling or screaming, or I don't know how people fight with each other.
I personally think Kate will yell. I don't think that Alex would yell. I think that Alex would just be like so defeated and so betrayed that she would just be like, I'd really like for you to leave. And Kate,
yeah, I think Alex would shed a tear or two. I think Kate would be like yelling, like snotty, crying. And I think Alex would be like stoically like, you didn't believe that I could handle this, or like you would have told me right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't believe in me. You thought that I needed your help to fix this. You didn't believe that like I would be able to.
Yeah, you didn't trust me to do my job. You didn't trust me in our relationship. You didn't trust me with this information.
If she says, oh my God, this would be so hard. If Alex was like, I don't want a secretary, I want a girlfriend. I didn't, see, that would have been like, because then Kate's like, oh my God, I was acting like you're like, I wasn't, we should have done this together. This isn't something for me to solve for you. This is something for me to like, us to work together.
Okay. We've broken up. How are we getting back together?
First, I feel like Kate needs to do something at her job. Like
I think Kate's gotta quit at some point.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know if she should quit once everything's like, I feel like everything about the boss should be revealed in like the board meeting where the dad decides like which project was good or something. I feel like the boss should be revealed without knowing that Kate's gonna reveal him. Like it should be in like a public setting where he thinks he's won.
Right. So like where...
And maybe that's when Kate quits.
I think... So Kate does everything for him. He like doesn't...
Yeah.
know how to do anything. So I think that it would be interesting. So I assume that she is like sending all of these email correspondences pretending to be him all the time, that like they think that they're talking with the CEO and they're talking with her. And so maybe to the same email threads, she like lets all of the different clients that they have know that there's going to be this meeting and that they should all be there and that they're going to like discuss something important. So they all get there and they're like ready to discuss something important. And Big Boss is like, what? I have nothing important to discuss. And she's like, but you sent that email. And he's like, no, I didn't. And they're like, what do you mean? This is who we've been talking to this whole time.
Yeah. And then maybe like, so I'm just thinking, does Kate quit then, or does Kate quit before and then she shows up to that meeting in her like casual clothes? Like, I'm the one you've been talking to. I was his secretary who did this, and like I've been doing all this, and he doesn't actually care about you guys. And then she starts listing things about each of the clients. Like, I sent you flowers after your dog Pugsy had surgery on their toe, and I made sure that your daughter had a monogrammed cap at her graduation, and I did this, and starts listing all the things. And then they realize that like she's the one that like been handling this, and maybe his boss, like she invites her boss's boss
the
there too. Yeah, and his boss is like, so she's been doing all these projects, and then that's when he gets like, fired and taken out, and then they like hire her. She says, actually, I don't think that this is for me.
Yeah, this isn't a good fit.
But I feel like her and Alex should reconnect.
So I think that because Kate is so personable and has all of these connections with all of these people, maybe she starts her own firm, and that there wasn't like a non-compete in her stuff because they were like, an assistant never does anything that's going to need a non-compete. So she starts her own thing and she like poaches all of these clients. And so then she, for a similar or the same account, is like calling Alex in to like pitch whatever marketing thing she was doing. Not for tea, but for something else now. And that's when Alex meets her and she's like, I wouldn't trust anyone else to handle this. Like, I think they've got to say something about trust, because that was like the fight before.
Yeah, maybe Kate's marketing like boss, maybe they handle like really big corporations, like corporations that push out small businesses, and Kate's always been the one like corresponding with those small businesses and basically getting them to sell their land and businesses and stuff. So maybe her firm that she opens is about like helping those small businesses build and like become like, you know, back where they need to be. She built up that firm and she starts working with the small businesses that were affected by her past firm. And there's like some kind of project that Alex is working on that's like to like, I guess, feature small businesses in some way, shape, or form. And her dad's like, yeah, I need you to go meet with this person who handles marketing for these 5 small businesses. This would be really good to partner with them on this campaign. And then they meet. I think it should be like, I think we should come full circle. And like maybe Alex is on her way to that meeting and she gets like cut off by, like maybe she gets cut off again. And then she's like sitting in the car, but it's not Kate, but she gets cut off by someone. Right. And she just like, she's sitting in the car and she's like,
I miss her.
Yeah, I miss her. Exactly. She's like, because somebody cut her off and she's like crying, gets her coffee, because you think the person's going to be Kate, but it's not. We got to, set suspense. And then she gets her coffee and then she goes to the meeting. And then at the meeting, so she realizes that the person she's meeting is Kate. And then Kate's like, I care a lot about these people and these businesses, and I've spent so much of my time working for someone and participating and like, dismantling their lives. And there's like you said, there's nobody I would trust more to help me build their life back up. And also, they start loving each other again.
Oh my God, are there any final things that you want to add, or is that kind of our conclusion?
I feel like that's our conclusion. Maybe Alex's company starts worrying more about like corporate social responsibility and stuff because of...
Well, then we get the spin-off of the brother,
Yes. Oh my God, yes. Yes.
So the epilogue like sets up the brother to be in book 2.
Exactly. I don't know what we would call this. Part of me is thinking of calling it the cutoff or something like that, because she's like cutting her off in the traffic. But we gotta figure out how that relates to the whole rest of the story. But I feel like, yeah.
Okay, I love it. I think that's so fun. Hey, we wrote a book in like 55 minutes.
Come on now, that was so good.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Okay, so we wrote like a sapphic, K-pop inspired, coworkers, golden retriever, grumpy sunshine adventure.
Dislike to lovers, all the tropes that you can think
of.
One
bed, they have to stay at an inn overnight. If you've seen it in a K-drama, you saw it here.
Yeah, it happened here. It's a good formula.
I agree. It's always the same, and it's always fun.
Exactly.
Okay. We have written our book. Sarah, can you tell us anything that you're excited about for the next couple of issues of Readin? Do you have any favorite articles or columns that you can't wait for us to read?
There's literally so many of them happening. I don't know which ones I'm excited for April yet, because we start writing a month ahead. Okay. So even though March launched today, people are already starting to write their articles for April. So I don't want to give too much information about those just because I don't know. Things always change. So if I say I'm super excited and the writer's like, I can't write that article, But I will say for the March one, I really, really, really love the article that they did about, I think the beauty team did one in the February issue that was like, it was called A Look in a Book, where it's like outfits inspired by book covers. And I love that one, but they kind of took another twist for it this time, called From the Page to Our Closets, where they reached out to like other bookish influencers to talk about characters in books whose like fashion sense they would want to take. And I really, really loved that article because I feel like it really relates to books, but it also just showed the creativity of the bookish community in general. And I think that one was really fun. But one that I think is super duper important for people to read is one written by Alyssa Patton on the fantasy sci-fi team, and it's called Diversity versus Tokenism, What's the Difference? And I think it's such a important conversation that like I feel like the book space kind of tiptoes around and never like really hits it on the head. Like, this is tokenism, this is not diversity, and we are mixing up the two, and like representation in books isn't always good representation, and good representation can cause, can have negative impacts overall. And that article really connects with an article that Culture wrote about the casting for Children of Blood and Bone for that adaptation, where it's amazing that this is a book by a Black author that's getting adapted. That doesn't happen very often, but because the actors acting for these roles are not of the same descent culturally or like skin color as the characters actually written within the book, it actually has negative implications and actually sets us further back. And so I think there's just really important nuanced conversations that are really good for the community to have and really good for us to like kind of dive deep into. And I'm so excited that like Readin is a place where people can have those conversations.
Yeah. So I would like to grab a few book recs from you. And I know we emailed about this a little bit. You're allowed to pick more than one. What are your favorite books / series of all time?
Okay, I have 5. First series, and I have like one of them behind me, but John Gwynn's Faithful and the Fallen series. I didn't expect the series to hit me as hard as it did, but I listened to it on audio, and it's very much like chosen one, found family, like I gotta fight for my honor, like I have, and it's so inspiring. It feels so good. And I remember finishing it. I think there's literally a video on my TikTok or somewhere where I'm like in the car screaming because I was waiting for them to like fix one thing and like bring this person back. But then it ended with, "This has been a Hachette audio production." And I was like, no. It's so good. Like, I fall in love with all of his characters, and I think the audio experience is just absolutely beautiful. Another really good one is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Honestly, never read a bad Abby Jimenez book. Like, I literally have a shrine to her on my bed. I'm so obsessed with her books, and I read every single one of them in a day. Like, I think I finish all of them within 24 hours. Yours Truly just hits so hard because I am Jacob. Jacob is I. We are one. Like he is so like baby boy to me. I'm so
baby boy. When he's like sitting at the restaurant in the rain,
the mosquitoes are like eating him, and he's like,
but I just want to be on the phone.
Outside. My God, I'm like literally like he's everything to me. Like, we're gonna be harmless to each other. That line literally ruins me. It just sits like really deep in my heart. Like, I literally read that book and I was like, interesting turn of events here.
That's actually me.
Oh, that's why. Oh my God, it's all making sense. So that one sits really deep in my heart too. I really love both of those characters, and I just think the writing was really beautiful and it was super fun to read. A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams is literally probably one of my favorite romance books of all time. Seriously so good. Like, it felt like I was in the moment. Like, I think it handles the like magical realism portion of it and the romance portion like perfect harmony with each other. It was such a beautiful read. I read it during a 24-hour readathon, and I was like, this is everything to me, actually. And then the most recent one I read, which is also behind me, is The Halfling Saga by Melissa Blair. I just finished the last 2. Those were the first 2 books that I read this year. I'm unwell. Like, I literally am it's so you feel for every single character, and like the conflicts are so like, I have no idea what you should do. Like, I don't even know what to do. I have no idea what you should do. The plot twists were insane. Like, literally, I was like, what the heck? Like, it was crazy. Like, kept me up at night kind of plot twists. And I just think Melissa built such an amazing world and amazing characters that are so relatable. And also all the girls in there, almost every single one of them gay, almost all of them. And I was like, this is amazing. This is great.
Do you ever predict a plot twist and you're like doing your little reading updates on the interwebs and you're like, I wonder if this is going to happen. And then you're like, do I have to delete that because I was right?
Sometimes I also think that I don't know if I can predict things. Sometimes I'm like, I can predict anything. Like, I know it's going to happen. But I also get hit with plot twists too much for that to be true.
Spoiler for this book, but I was like, do you think this is all a long con? And then we got to that and I was like, I was correct.
Like, there was one book where it was also a John Gwynne book, which is like a spin-off of his Faithful and the Fallen series, where like and this series came out so long ago, so also a spoiler, but you guys like read it. But I assumed that this guy was her dad. I was like, this guy is her dad. Like this angel thing, that's your father, right? Because it was so weird because they're angels, they don't age really, and so he was like flirting with her because he didn't know that it was his daughter, and I kept being like, this guy is so creepy. Like, I don't like him. He's so creepy. But her sister
was a witch.
Kept like having a witch.
Her sister was a witch.
Sister.
And what was her
and she came down in a bubble, Doug.
Oh, which is least, bro.
You're gonna tell me that I'm wrong?
Look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? I'm sorry. Continue what you were saying.
No, the amount of times that I quote that is actually ridiculous. But her sister kept having secret meetings with him. And I was like, wait, I think her sister and him, like, were together at some point. But her sister also acted like so much of a mom to her. And I was like, that's not her sister. That's her mom. Because I've seen Criminal Minds episodes where it's like, that's not your sister, bro. That's your mom.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that's like such a niche trope that I've seen so many times. So I like predicted it. And I was, when it happened, I was like, wait, I was right? Because it was so left field that I was like, wait a second. So sometimes I'm like, damn, but I'm also not good at bookish content creator. I'm not good at filming videos like while I'm reading.
Well, while I'm reading is definitely harder than after. And what was the last 5-star book you read?
The Halfling Saga by Melissa Blair. That was so good. I think it was An Honored Vow was the last one. I did not want it to end. The last page, the ending was I hate endings. I don't watch the last episodes of TV series. As I'm like, if I don't watch it, it doesn't end. It's still happening for me. Like, honestly, Criminal Minds is still running. Like, the OG.
I was going to say, Criminal Minds is technically still running, but
not evolution.
Matthew's gone, so is it worth it?
Yeah, what's the point? In my mind, Matthew's still there.
And so is Hotch.
I never watched the last episode. Exactly. So it was really bittersweet, but she ended it really, really well. And it wrapped everything up together, and I feel like I have closure. I just don't want to leave the world, but I do have closure. So, yeah, that one was really, I highly recommend any fantasy readers out there, if you have not read The Halfling Saga, please get on that immediately.
And then, what is your most anticipated book of 2025?
I would probably say Abby Jimenez's next book, Say You'll Remember Me, just because I love Abby Jimenez.
Me too.
And every single book really just, are amazing. So, I'll probably have to say that. I have not looked at a book since I started watching K-dramas.
I was going to say, I don't know how you read The Halfling Saga and watched K-dramas.
No, I started watching them after I finished The Halfling Saga. I think The Halfling Saga was the last book that I read. The other two I read were like 4 brand deals. So like it was like kind of like homework. They were good, but it was like homework in a way. But yeah, after The Halfling Saga, my bookshelf didn't even see me. She was like, where is our owner? And I was like, I don't know. I just picked out my March TBR because again, I've only been watching K-dramas, so I haven't touched a book. So I just picked up my HBR. I think I was going to start with this book called Black Girl Breathing by Jasmine Marie. It's a nonfiction, like, self-help book, which I never read. But I usually pick out my TBR and, like, I have a category that's, like, try a new-to-me genre. Or, like, a genre I don't really read that much. So that's the one for this month. Because it's Women's History Month. And also just feel like in this current political climate and administration, and the last couple of months have just been like really hard for Black women. I mean, every day is really hard for Black women, but it's just been like really hard for Black women. And I feel like I'm turning 25 this year. Quarter life crisis is right around the corner. So I felt like I just wanted to give it a try and see what the vibes are. It's all about like healing chronic stress and like, like deep trauma, like generational traumas and like all that stuff. So I thought I would give it a try. I haven't annotated or highlighted anything in a while. So I'm like, let me see if this sparks something in me. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
And what is the book that you recommend the most?
The book that I recommend the most depends on the genre and between fantasy and romance. So like romance, which is weird, but it wasn't in my top 5 favorite, but it's a really good book. I love it. But the one I recommend the most is probably Mickey Chambers' Shakes It Up by Cherish Reed. Really, really good. She's his professor and his employee, and he's her boss and her student.
Okay, so like power dynamics, but in both directions?
Exactly. Yeah. Like power dynamics at school and also at
Okay.
work. But like this power shifts on
Uh-huh.
both sides. No, it's really good. And then for fantasy, I always recommend The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste, that I read last year. I just think it's so good. And it's like this girl makes love potions, but when she makes them, they like the love potions literally come to life and like beat her up. Like it takes so much out of her to create them, but it's all different kinds of love. Like it's love of like platonic love, romantic love, familial love, it's love of an idea, love of money. Like she creates it for all different kinds of love. Um, and I think it was just such an interesting depiction of all the different kinds of love and how love takes work and it can hurt and it's, something you got to push through if you really care about it. And it's just really cool. And I think it shows witches in a really interesting way and like shows the world in a way. So that was a good one.
Those all sound wonderful. I'm definitely going to be checking them out. Thank you so much for coming, Sarah. So if people want to follow you and follow the magazine, where can they do that?
Yeah, both on Instagram. And I was just going to say Instagram because my link in bio has links to everything else. So if you want to find me in other places, you could just check there. But on Instagram and TikTok, I'm just Serareadthat. And then the magazine is on Instagram. We are Readin.magazine. Reading without the G. And yeah, we're mostly active on Instagram, but also the website. If you want to check the website, readinmag.com is where all the articles and all the good
The
things are.
website's pretty cool. I don't know who did the like graphics, but it is really cool and I like the little bubbles.
Oh yeah, we have graphic designers who do like the covers, but like built the website because our web manager ghosted us like 2 weeks before we launched the first issue. So that I had to go in and like do everything. And I uploaded pretty much everything this time around too. So yeah, it's a lot.
You can send your story to the podcast if you would like to be featured and maybe turned into a book at ifitwasabook@gmail.com. You can follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at ifitwasabook. You can follow me, the host, on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Wicked Reads. You can listen to these episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch the episodes. If you're a more visual person, they are all posted on YouTube. Thank you so much for coming.